Spark EV update video, how it's been going, what's been good and bad, and the things that didn't make it into the first review. Plus, it got broke real big. I thought I was going to have to get rid of it. I'm going to go over that stuff. Stick around. Hey guys, you might have seen my Chevy Spark EV review from a while back. It's been a couple years now. It's November 2023. I still have the car. It's got around 43,000 miles on it. How's it been going? It's been somewhere between okay and meh. I still like the car, but there's been a few burns that make me somewhat unhappy with it. As for what has been good and bad, the good has been not needing maintenance and the car's fun to drive. Bad, I guess you can sum it up in, 3 parts. 1, the degradation. 2, the driving experience, even though I just said it was fun. And 3, the DC fast charging. The experience with that has been bad. All right, on that first point, the degradation, I'm down, I think, 3 or 5 kilowatt hours. So the range is showing here, it's sort of the wintertime, is 60 miles. So yeah, I've lost a solid 15 miles off the range. It's not that bad, but it's I guess it's good relative to other EVs and their degradation, but it's still, but it's bad, you're just losing miles. And then the second piece about the driving experience, while the car is like the tininess of the car makes it great for parking and not using excessive amounts of energy to go places, there's this thing that happens. I'll call it tiny car syndrome. If you drive on public roads, you know that driving is generally not a pleasant experience. Oftentimes you see behaviors that are poor, maybe even partake in a few of those behaviors yourself. It's no secret that people have plenty to complain about regarding driving, and understanding that in driving the Spark EV, you may find yourself attracting friends close to your behind more often. I think it's because the car's so tiny, people drive more aggressively around it. It's versus larger cars. If I drive one of my other larger cars just the same, there seems to be generally a different experience. Like fewer people are passing aggressively or getting close, stuff like that. So be advised, if you're small car shopping, that might be a thing. And then on the final point, the DC fast charging for the Spark is generally not good with regards to the equipment that exists out there today, like the charging stations. While many people are complaining about the CCS networks that have been built out over the United States, the Spark EV has an extra special problem on top of that. If my experience is shared by other Spark owners, which appears they do have similar experiences if you look at the comments on PlugShare. And why didn't I say this in my initial review? Because it wasn't a thing. When I was making that review, I was not having the issues that would eventually crop up over the years to come as networks built out. And the problem is that there's companies out there that make the DC fast chargers that upon initiating the DC fast charge with the Spark, immediately it'll stop. Like it starts and then it stops. This may have something to do with the SAE not making the J1772 guidance a standard until 2016. Prior to that, it was just a recommended practice, but that's me just speculating. I suggest watching this Weber Auto video if you want to nerd out on details of EV charging. This dude, Professor John Kelly, rocks. Link will be in the description. But yeah, I can't know exactly what the issue is. I think it's a communications issue. What I know is that when Electrify America first started installing stations, no matter what I used, it would just start and stop every time. Like it would never work. And then they had issues with their whole network, and more people were having a similar issue, and they replaced a lot of their stuff, at least on the East Coast. And the Spark generally works at their stations now. But if I see a DC fast charger with the EFACEC as the manufacturer, I can never get the charge to get started. It's like start, stop. Now, other than not knowing how DC fast charging was going to play out, what else did I miss in the first review? I missed a couple details. One, when in reverse and backing up with the windshield wipers on, the rear wiper automatically will wipe intermittently, or like right when you pop it into reverse. I don't think I put that in the first review. That's kind of cool. And finally, if you leave the turn signal on and you're just driving straight for a long period of time, the car will ding at you with a message on the screen letting you know you left it on. Yep. Oh, good or bad, I don't know, but there's a potential problem with charging in the summertime. I don't have a garage, and I charge my cars outside. The Spark, though, when it charges to full, and if it's over 90 degrees outside, it'll like keep spinning the coolant pump under the hood, just soaking up electricity. At first, I thought it was to keep the battery cool, and maybe it is doing that, but it gets super hot under the hood, and the AC compressor doesn't run when it's happening, which usually is the case when it's trying to keep the battery cool. Yeah, and if you don't drive it for like days after that has begun, it just keeps doing that, just stays on. And the charge indicator on the EVSE shows that the car is still drawing power. So yeah, it's still on. It's not overcharging the battery though, it's just running the systems. But once the car is fully charged in the exact same conditions, if you unplug it and then plug it back in, it doesn't do that. So it's kind of weird. Seems like a waste. I think I looked at like an app or something. It was drawing 600 watts constant while it was doing that. It's weird. I don't remember if I'm remembering that right though. So anyway, I usually have delayed charging to come on at night and then just keep an eye on it the next day, just to unplug it or plug it back in or whatever. And this this is speculation. It may have something to do with the 12 volt battery getting old. If that's the case, I'll know, I guess, next summer because I changed the battery recently, which leads me to closing out this update with this. The critical failure that happened with the car recently. I thought I was going to have to junk it. It was a no start situation that came up off and on, and it finally just stopped starting up. What happened was it gave me this screen, and if you wait through the screen, it'll turn on, but it just won't move. It won't show that ready symbol. Yeah, and after nearly 2 months of diagnosing off and on, I finally got it fixed. So essentially, it was the ECM that was bad. And then I replaced it, programmed it myself, and boom, back up and running. If you want to know more details about that whole situation with the critical failure and the fix, there will be a separate video going into detail about that I'm going to put up soon. And yeah, I'll link that in the description as well below. I hope that helped. And yeah, I'll see you later, Internet.